How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the corner. I'm the Dean as always. Today, I want to look at two videos from the first Berserker Khazan. Now, this first one is one that has been out for 2 weeks now. It's been out for a little bit, but I missed it, and I'm very interested in the lore of this game. So, this video titled "Unveil the Universe," I assume is going to be some more about the lore. Now, we learned a little bit about the lore in the last video I covered on it. But the other one, the dev deep dive, the other one I want to look at is a new weapon showcase. Now, in the dev deep dive, I talked about how I really like how all the animations look. They look very fucking anime. They look awesome, and I'm really excited for it. And I really like the like pacing of all the attacks and everything. So I'm really excited for this one. But this one's going to be a shorter video, and this one's going to be a longer one. So I want to go ahead and look at this one first and see what it's all about. So before we dive in, just to let you all know, I am pretty much a junior game developer. I have studied pretty much everything there is to know about game design. I'm by no means an expert, and I by no means uh, definitively know absolutely everything. But I've done a lot of studying about it. I've learned a lot of things about it, and I have a very, uh, what I like to consider a very a deeper level of understanding about these kind of things than the average consumer. So I wanted to use my insight, use my knowledge, sort of look at this stuff and break it down and see what I can find that I like, maybe I don't like. Game design choices that I think are good for this type of game, and game design choices that I think are maybe not so good. Um, and so yeah, so let's go ahead and look at this. Now, of course, this isn't going to be gameplay related. It's going to be about lore, but I will also use that knowledge to look at the lore that they are introducing and see if it really makes any sense, see if it connects at all with what they've already shown us, see if it makes any kind of sense. So let's go ahead and jump right in.
퍼스트 버스커 카잔은 한때 위대했던
Follows the
영웅
story of
가잔이
Khazan,
몰락하고 나서
legendary hero
복수극을
who embarks
펼치는
on a quest
이야기입니다.
for revenge after his
배경은
downfall. The
중세
game takes
유럽의
place
시대상과
in the
흡사한
world.
세계로 아라드 대륙의
He is talking fast, and I am not reading fast. Let's see. In a world reminiscent of medieval Europe. Okay.
흡사한 세계로 아라드 대륙의 펠로스라는
The
제국에서
Pelos Empire
펼쳐집니다.
on the continent of
펠로스
Arad
제국은 당대 가장
understood
강력한
as the most
세력이었는데요.
powerful empire of
어느
its
날
time.
갑자기 나타난
Its peace was shattered by the arrival of Hismar, a fearsome dragon.
히스마라는 용 때문에 고통을 겪고 있었어요. 하지만 난세에는 언제나 영웅들이
It is in
등장하기
troubled
마련이죠.
time that true heroes
여기서
emerge.
제국의
Khazan,
대장군
the
카잔과
empire's greatest general, and Ozma, the greatest mage of
당대
their
최고의
time.
마법사인 오지마가 등장하게 됩니다. 이둘은 절친한 친구
Close
사이이기도
friends who
했는데요.
joined
이들이
forces to
히스마를
freedom and
토벌하고
restore.
전란을 종식하게 됩니다.
Okay.
카잔과
By the way,
오지마는
I love the art that they're showing for all of this. Like this right here, capturing the hero on top of the defeated dragon.
히스마를 토벌하고
The image before this one of Khazan, and I'm assuming this is Ozma. I don't know who this is. It makes me very curious as to why she is here, but not mentioned. So
이둘은 절친한 친구 사이이기도 했는데요. 이둘이 히스마를 토벌하고
I
전란을
love this.
종식하게
I love this
됩니다.
art. This one right here of the dragon laying defeated. Oh my god, this is so fucking cool.
카잔과 오지마는
Made
한순간에
beloved
제국민들의
heroes
영웅으로
amongst the
떠오르죠.
people.
모두가 카잔과 오지마를
Fame didn't
칭송하고
sit well with
우러러봤지만
everyone. Okay.
황제와 일부 귀족들은 그렇지 못했습니다. 오지마를 칭송하고 우러러봤지만 황제와 일부
Overshadowed and envious. As they
귀족들은
should.
그렇지 못했습니다. 황제에게 인기와
Resentment. Like Yoda says, let me pull up this quote. Yoda quote: "Hatred leads to suffering." Yeah. So, like Yoda says, okay, fear is a path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. So we're already seeing that sort of right here, where uh, they were fearful of this dragon, right? So the greatest general and mage of this time banded together to defeat them. They began to resent them. They began to feel angry towards them, right? And so their anger led them to hate them, and that hate is going to lead to suffering. Who's suffering? Khazan's suffering, as we saw in the previous one, where we learned that he was actually exiled from his country. This tells us why he was exiled.
존경이란 반드시 본인의
He felt he alone should be admired and respected
것이어야
by the
했거든요.
people.
결국 질투
Driven by jealousy, the emperor framed Khazan and Ozma for treason. Okay.
눈이 먼 황제는
So we have it confirmed that it was a frame job. Like whatever it was that was whatever they were accused of is guaranteed. We know right here that it was false, that it's not true, and this is why we are so upset by it.
가잔과 오즈마한테 반역자 누명을 씌우고 맙니다. 오즈마는 두 눈이 뽑힌 채로
Faced
처형당했고
gruesome torture, oh my god, having his eyes gouged out before being. I mean, at least he was fucking executed. At least he doesn't have to suffer. Holy shit.
가잔은 양팔에
But and then Khazan was banished to the snowy mountains. Well, see, there's your issue. Is they didn't execute Khazan. They should have executed Khazan and not Ozma, because if they had executed Khazan instead, then this game wouldn't be possible because Khazan would be dead. And this would be more about Ozma, and who knows what that would have led to. This could. Well, no, because he's executed. So never mind.
힘줄이 뽑히는 형벌을 받고
Okay,
험난한
banished
설산지대로
after having the
추방당합니다.
tendons and both of his
여기까지가
arms
게임
severed.
시작 전 배경 스토리예요.
Okay.
여러분은
So they tried to ensure that even if he somehow lived, he wouldn't really be able to pose a threat because the tendons in his arms were severed. And if you didn't know, the tendons in your arms are basically what allows your arm to be able to do this, to be able to move your hand, right? It's like slicing the Achilles tendon in someone's foot. It basically renders that leg completely inoperable.
카잔이 설산으로 추방당하는
Again, for the
모습을
cutscene of his
컷신으로
banishment to the
목격하면서
snowy mountains.
게임을 시작하게 됩니다. 카잔이 모든 걸 포기하고
This is
체념한
Khazan's
순간
about to-
마지막으로 기회가 찾아오게 되는데요.
Okay.
카잔을 호송하던 마차가 갑자기 일어난
Struck by
산사태
powerful
때문에
avalanche.
절벽 아래로 추락하게 됩니다.
Now see, here's my headcanon. Maybe they might address this later on in the video, I don't know, but my headcanon so far is that there's like this like spirit or like this sword thing that you interact with very, very soon after you gain control of Khazan. And my theory so far, based off of what I know, is that is what caused the avalanche. Because I, as just a person, do not necessarily believe in coincidences. I don't think anything just happens. I very much believe in cause and effect. So when something happens, there was something that caused it, right?
이 다음 이야기는 게임을 직접
what happens
플레이하면서
next is up
확인해
to you
주시면
to
좋을 것
Which is
같습니다.
good. Good. I'm glad that they're not going any further. It's like right after cutscene, this is where we pick up, and we're gonna leave it to the player to discover. I like this. This is good. But I will preface that, or I will like add a little asterisk to that and say that being intentionally vague, like say Dark Souls, in my opinion, does not constitute good storytelling, right? Like it has a story, but they don't actually care about the story. That's what that tells me. When you kind of shove the story so far off to the side that players literally have to go and actually look to figure out anything, right? That, in my opinion, is bad storytelling. That is bad story design. Really, really good stories, like say Lord of the Rings, for example, do not force the consumers to go out of their way to try and figure out what the fuck is going on, right? But they also don't like shove it in your face, right? It's there It is the point of the entire thing that's being told, of course. Um, but it's not like the only thing going on, if that makes sense.
가잔의 운명을 여러분들이 주도하면서 가잔의 일대기를 직접 겪어보시길 바랍니다.
Now, here's something I'm interested in. They say to shape his path as you go. I'm curious to learn what they mean by this. And I say that because there are a lot of games nowadays that offer you the illusion of choice, right? Fallout games are a perfect example of this. A lot of other AAA games are a perfect example of this, where you make a choice and it might have some like minor meaning in the immediacy of like what's going on, but overall it doesn't actually affect the story, right? Your ending isn't going to change because you told someone to fuck off and shot them in the face in Mass Effect, right? um so, and that's what I mean by like the illusion of choice, right? So is the shape his path going to be like an illusion of choice, or will the ending or will parts of the story genuinely actually change because of a prior choice? That is what I'm wondering.
카잔은 본래 야만족 출신으로 헬로스의
He was
대장군까지
originally a
올라간
barbarian. He
입지전적인
rose to the ranks
인물이었습니다.
as a great general of the
출신으로
Lost
인한
Empire.
차별을 겪기도 했으나 타고난
Despite
기질과
discrimination
육체
due to
덕분에
his origins,
결국
his natural skill and strength earned him
영웅으로
the title of
인정받을
hero.
수 있었죠. 그만큼
His battle style is one of strength and decisiveness. Now, this is a good thing to keep in mind, because from what I've been able to tell, these guys really, really understand how to make things flow in a organic and almost natural way, right? So I hope, and this is why I'm saying to keep this in mind. I'm hoping that the way the combat plays, and from what I've seen, this does seem to be the case. I'm hoping the way the combat plays into this battle style of Khazan, right? It shouldn't be the battle style of the player; it should be how this person Khazan fights, how they do battle, right? Because you are not creating your own character like in Dark Souls or Elden Ring. You are playing a pre-existing character of this universe who has their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own way of doing things, right? So if they do bring that into this, then that means that the way the combat is going to flow is going to be one about strength and decisiveness, right? If you are indecisive in battle, it's going to cost. It's going to punish you for being indecisive because that's not the character, right? So I'm hoping that's how the whole combat system works. And from what I've seen, that is how it works, and that makes me very, very, very excited.
그의 전투는 과감하고 강력하며 압도적인 제압감을 추구합니다.
Pursues victory
이는
by
게임 속에서도
overwhelming.
확인하실 수 있는
Go back.
압도적인 제압.
Okay, so he is a battle style is one of strength and decisiveness, where he pursues victory by overwhelming his enemies. This does make sense. In the deep dive, they talked about how bosses and enemies are constrained by a stamina pool, just like you are. And by exploiting that and by wearing them down and effectively overwhelming them, right, you can unleash devastating damage on the opponent, on the enemy. So this, I love to hear that this is how Khazan himself does battle. I love this. This is amazing.
제압감을 추구합니다. 이는 게임 속에서도 확인하실 수 있는데요. 강대한 적의
Oh, that's good. That's good. I was talking about, I hope that this is how they're doing it, and they're confirming it right here. You'll be able to feel this as you play. Yes, 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 yes. I love this. Good. I want to feel like when I'm playing this game, I want to feel like I am Khazan, the first Berserker, right? That's who, that is the role I am taking up, right, in this action RPG. Because it has some Souls-like mechanics, sure, probably, but this looks more like an action RPG than like your typical Souls-like, right? So to see them say this, that you'll be able to feel this like decisiveness and this strength and fighting by overwhelming your opponent, to see them say this is how you will feel when you play this is what you're going to feel when you play him. I love this idea. I love this style. This is absolutely amazing. This right here is amazing game design. This is amazing game design.
게임 속에서도 확인하실 수 있는데요. 강대한 적의 공격을
Feel the
정면에서
thrill of
받아내고
action-packed
화려하고
battles
폭발적인
as
기술로
you
상대를
take on powerful enemies and overwhelm them with explosive attacks. I just wanted to read that real quick. I wasn't actually paying attention to the video. I want to talk about this video
추구합니다.
that we're going to see here.
이는 게임 속에서도 확인하실
looks
수 있는데요.
Uh,
강대한 적의
so right
공격을
here, this model, this dude, he looks like a humanoid dragonish kind of person. Phenomenal design, wielding a twin blade, looks cool.
정면에서
But
받아내고
this looks,
화려하고
especially right here, right? This looks so fucking anime right here. And it's probably intentional, but I like this right here, right? So you see this line come over, you see this line come over, and then you see another line like drop down right here, right? As he is like coming down and right before he hits, it like flashes. I love that.
폭발적인
That's
기술로
really cool.
상대를 몰아붙이는 저돌적인 액션의 짜릿함을 느끼실 수 있습니다. 또한 카잔은 여러 무기를 능숙하게 다루는
So
숙련된
it's various
전사이기
weapons,
때문에
okay?
각 무기의
This game
장점을
looks so fucking
극대화한
anime. I
다양한
love it.
스타일의 전투 역시 경험하실
Experience
수
wide variety of
있습니다.
fighting styles. I highlight the strengths of
카잔의
each weapon.
캐릭터성을
That's good. The way the weapon works, the way weapon functions, how you attack with it, everything, it should naturally lend itself to teaching the player all of the strengths of the weapon and all of the weaknesses of the weapon. So going to Elden Ring, for example, colossal weapons, especially like colossal swords and whatnot, are very, very slow when they swing and during their recovery. But when they actually hit something, it feels impactful. Number one, the damage you do is always significantly higher. Like if we're going by just like raw statistics, right? Is always statistically much higher than the lesser counterparts, right? So a colossal greatsword will do more damage than a regular greatsword, right? If all other things are equal. So this, but to compensate, like a greatsword will be slightly faster and have a slightly faster recovery than a colossal greatsword, for example. So that's really good design as well.
강화하기 위해 많은 고민이 있었습니다.
And this is also really good that they put a lot of thought and effort in shaping the design. The reason why this is important is because the way the character, not only does the way the character look matter, but the way the character is portrayed, the way the character acts, his demeanor, his personality, all of these things are extremely important because you can have a badass game, but if the characters fucking suck, no one's going to play it.
펠로스 제국의 대장군이었기 때문에 바닥을 뒹구는 형태의 회피 동작을
This is a good example. This is good. Let me my webcam out of the way. So, right here he says, let me just go back a little bit. So right here he says,
있기
since
때문에
he's a great
바닥을
general,
뒹구는
we steered away from evasive movements that would make him roll on the ground. This is good. This is very good. I would not expect someone who is a great general, someone who has been in countless battles, fought countless foes, killed a fucking dragon, right? I would not expect them to roll around in the fucking mud, right? I would expect them to face their foe head on in a, like, basically in a one-on-one, right? That's what I would expect from them. I would not expect them to be rolling around in the fucking mud.
형태의 회피 동작을 의도적으로
That's
사용하지
insanely
않고
disgraceful.
공격도 깔끔하고 정제된
So
형태로
instead, making
빈도덕이
his focused on making his attacks sharp and
없이
precise.
표현하고자
Good.
많은 노력을
In doing so, I want to talk about this. In making his attacks feel and be sharp and precise, that means that their hitboxes are going to be very accurate. If your attack goes through a fucking limb on an enemy, it's going to hit them, right? By making them feel sharp, that means that they're going to feel impactful, they're going to feel weighty. When you hit something, you're going to know that you hit them, right? It's going to be, it's kind of like God of War Ragnarok. They talked about, I remember watching a video where they talked about the way they did Kratos' axe. And some of this stuff might be lost on some of you, but there are these two ways that models and whatnot are rigged. There's kinematics and inverse kinematics. Kinematics goes basically it goes from like shoulder to elbow to wrist to finger, etc., etc., right? Whereas inverse kinematics goes from finger to wrist to elbow to shoulder, right? So you can think of kinematics as the way that your arms move, right? The way your legs move. Inverse kinematics, you can think of like how chicken legs move. That those work off inverse kinematics, whereas human legs work off kinematics, right? So the way that God of War Ragnarok, the way they achieved the weightiness, the heavy, punchy feeling of the axe hitting someone. So like when you go to swing your axe, in fact, I'll pull it up real quick. God of War Ragnarok gameplay. So when he goes to swing the axe, right? We'll just pull this up, we'll mute it, and then just jump to where there's some combat. That's way too far. Okay. So we'll just rewind a bit. In fact, we'll just go back more. Okay. So, when he goes to swing his axe, you'll notice that like there's this. So right there. Go ahead and rewind it. So right here, you watch as he goes to swing, right? And then it hits him, but the axe stays, and you'll watch as Kratos' body continues to like sort of move. That's actually a really bad one. I'll just do like a normal attack. Yeah, okay. So right here, you'll see the axe hits, it stays, Kratos' body continues to move. That's inverse kinematics. What they did was they made it so that when you actually make contact, instead of the limb working off kinematics, the axe and that arm work off inverse kinematics. So the arm will stay there while the entire rest of the body moves, and that's how they get that like weightiness. That's how they get the axe to really stick when he hits something, right? And so that is what I mean by making attacks feel like sharp and precise, right? And that is the one way that you can make attacks feel very weighty, very impactful.
하였습니다. 특히 방어도 적의 공격에 정면으로 맞선
Defense is
상태에서
built to
대응할 수
take hits
있도록
head on.
해서
That's very much
적들
what we
앞에서도
saw.
물러서지 않는 카잔의 모습을
That's definitely what we saw in the other video, where rather than really doing like a lot of these dodges, he is blocking or parrying, deflecting attacks rather than anything else. So right here, here's the thing. I saw all of that in gameplay before I heard any of this. So I already saw that. So to hear them say that this is how they're designing it just confirms that the way they're designing it and the way they want to design it and the way that it actually ends up playing is actually lining up to be correct.
더욱 극적으로 경험하실 수 있습니다.
게임을 진행하면 카잔 외에도 다양한
variety
매력의
of characters, each with their own
캐릭터들을
unique
다수
traits.
만나보실 수 있습니다.
Okay.
특히 미지의 존재인 블레이드
Khazan's
팬텀과
encounter with the Blood
조우하고
Phantom adds a
함께
new level, a new
동행하면서
dimension to his
새로운
journey,
힘을 얻게 되는데요.
granting him new
스토리가
powers. You'll see
진행되면서
Khazan grow
주인공인
in his
카잔의
connection with
성장,
Blade Phantom.
그리고
That's what I
블레이드
was talking about,
팬텀과의
Blade
유대를 통해 버서커에 좀 더 가까워진다고 느끼실 수
Pleasure
있을 거라
to becoming the
생각됩니다.
Berserker. Okay.
그리고 이와 함께
as you guys should be able to
유저분들의
fully
경험적
immerse yourself
성장이
in the rich
더해져서
story, which I
퍼스트
am
버서커 카잔
really looking forward to, because so far it seemed to be a really good story. Also, this attack is like the most anime fucking thing I've seen in this game so far. This attack is so fucking cool.
이라는 타이틀에 걸맞은 스토리와 액션들을 경험하실 수 있습니다.
It does very much look like it's very
퍼스트
dynamic.
버서커
I'm very
카잔은 던전 앤 파이터 유니버스
And its own universe within the Dungeon and Fighter universe. That would explain why it seems so fucking anime, because the DNF, from what I've seen of like the fighting games and whatnot, those are a fucking spectacle. Those are some fucking anime-ass games.
속 하나의 다중세계 스토리입니다. 카잔은 처음으로 던전 앤 파이터
Whoa. Talking fast, lady. Hang on. Khazan first appeared in Ozma's Raid storyline.
처음으로 던전 앤 파이터
In Dungeon Fighter Online as a villain to be taken down alongside Ozma. Okay, so this means that not only are they working with pre-existing lore, if you have played Dungeon Fighter Online, this character, you will already know who he is. And you'll know, like, I presume where he ends up.
오즈마 레이드 스토리에서 등장했는데요. 다만
Not gonna lie, I might have to go play Dungeon Fighter Online just for this. We'll see.
기존 게임에서 카잔은
In
추방
the
중
original
산사체를
story, he
만나지
was
않고 그대로
exiled and not caught in an avalanche as in this reenactment.
추방되었으며
Okay.
오즈마와 함께 처단되어야
So they are reworking the lore a little bit. Okay.
하는 악의 역할이었습니다. 하지만 카잔은 마냥
Khazan
악으로만
is much more than
보기에는
just a
너무나
villain.
입체적이고 매력적인 캐릭터였는데요.
It definitely seems like it. So before she goes any further, it seems like he was sort of driven to villainy. Because he did all these amazing things, all these great feats, and became a hero for this king who ended up getting so jealous and angry at him for getting all this attention that he was betrayed and exiled and effectively sentenced to death, as well as having his best friend Ozma, or I assume his best friend at that point in the story, as well as having him literally have his eyes gouged out and executed. So it definitely
카잔이
feels
지옥
like he
속에서
was.
살아남았으면 어떤 일이
So the idea of what if Khazan had survived inspired this
생겼을까?
new take on
이
the
한
story.
가지
Okay.
물음에서 모든 이야기를 재구성하게 되었습니다. 기존 스토리에서는
Well,
오즈마를
the
중심으로
original story
이야기가
focused on
펼쳐지지만
Ozma.
이번에는
The new
카잔이
story puts
주인공이
Khazan
되어
in the
기존
spotlight.
유저들에게는 새로운 재미를
Okay, so so that tells me that like okay, so does that mean that in the original story Ozma survived and wasn't executed? If you've played Dungeon Fighter Online and know more about this lore, let me know down below, because I'm very interested. It gives longtime fans a fresh perspective
던전 앤 파이터를
while
모르는
making the
사람들도
story
쉽게
accessible to
접근할 수 있도록
newcomers through its
메인
engaging
테마인
theme
복수에
of revenge.
집중했습니다.
Very true.
이를 통해 모든
We
분들이
believe
카잔의
this approach will
처절한
allow
복수에
everyone to
공감하며
sympathize
즐기실 수
with
있을
and
거라
enjoy Khazan's
생각됩니다.
quest for revenge. Absolutely. So, speaking as someone who has never played DFO or DNF, someone who doesn't really know anything about the lore of that universe, of that setting, I was already interested in Khazan's quest for revenge, because when I first heard about it, I was like, okay, well, who is Khazan? Why is it like, what is the player's motivation for the story, right? And then we learned that it was about vengeance, right? He was betrayed. Okay, that's good narrative hook. That's got me interested. Why was he betrayed? Now we know. He was betrayed because he went and defeated this dragon that was threatening the realm, And then the king got jealous of all the attention that he was getting as the new hero. And so the king exiled him, which leads Khazan to resent him and go on this quest for vengeance. This is very good at narrative hooks and very good, not story pacing, but it's a very good story reason, right? For not just the player, but for Khazan.
카잔이 복수를 해나가는
As he
여정에서
sets out on his
새로운
quest for
정보들을
revenge,
알게
he'll
될
uncover
수도
new
있고
choices and
선택의
make choices
순간들도
that will shape
있습니다.
his journey. So I'm just gonna say, based off of everything they've said so far, I think this will actually, what they mean by this is it will change your ending. It will change the ending you get. And if it does, I am all fucking about it. I am all about it.
여러분들이 주도하는 여정에
on the
따라
path.
카잔은
Take,
조금씩은 다른 결말을
Yup, there we go. There we go. What I tell you, the ending to Khazan's experiences will slightly different. Will be slightly different.
맞이하게 될
I think she's being a little generous here. I don't think it's going to be slight. I think it's going to be pretty significant differences.
겁니다.
It might not be like a lot of differences, but it's going to be some pretty significant ones.
버서커 카잔에서 또 다른
I am
유니버스의
definitely going
탄생을
to enjoy
경험하시길
exploring
바랍니다.
the universe. That's for damn sure. I am so excited for this. Now this video is already fucking 30 minutes long and I still want to look at this. So I'm going to end this video here, just looking at this, and then I'm going to do another video on this, just because this one's getting too long. And I'm going to be honest, I don't necessarily want to upload hour-long videos, because those take like fucking 3 hours to fucking actually upload to YouTube. So thank you all for coming to this video. I'm going to have this linked down in the description, as I always do. Thank you for coming to my corner. I've been the DM as always. If you liked the video, hit the like button, hit subscribe. If you didn't like the video, hit dislike button, let me know why. And I will see you all next time.